There is a quiet prison most people live in their entire lives. No walls, no bars, no guards. Just the constant, invisible weight of asking, "What will they think of me?" You changed your words before you said them. You swallowed the thing you actually wanted to say. You chose the safer path, not because it was yours, but because it was acceptable. And somehow, after doing all of that, you still felt empty. The psychologist Alfred Adler spent decades studying human unhappiness, and he reached a conclusion that was both simple and devastating. Most people are not living their own lives. They are performing a version of themselves, carefully curated, constantly adjusted, for an audience that is, more often than not even watching. Think about the last time you made a decision based on what someone else might think. Maybe it was what you wore, what you said at a dinner table, the career you chose, the relationship you stayed in, the dream you never mentioned out loud. Now ask yourself honestly, whose life were you living in that moment? There is a term psychologists use for this state. They call it other-directed behavior, when your actions are steered not by your own values, but by the perceived expectations of others. And the tragedy is not just that you suffer from it. The tragedy is that you suffer from it silently, and you mistake that silence for maturity, for responsibility, for being a good person. But there is nothing mature about slowly erasing yourself to make others comfortable. To understand why we do this, we need to go back to the beginning. When you were very young, approval was not optional. It was survival. A child who pleases their caregiver stays safe. A child who disrupts the peace learns, very quickly, to manage the emotional temperature of the room before they manage their own. This was not a flaw. It was intelligence. But the problem is this: you grew up. The survival strategy did not. And so here you are, an adult, capable, whole, still scanning every room for signs of disapproval. So what is the alternative? Not indifference, not arrogance. It is the decision to separate your sense of self from the mirror of other people's reactions. When you internalize this, really internalize it, not just understand it intellectually, something begins to loosen. The constant monitoring quiets down. The mental rehearsals before conversations get shorter. The post-conversation analysis, replaying what you said, what they thought, what you should have said, starts to lose its grip. This is not something that happens overnight. Let me be honest with you about that. Years of conditioning do not dissolve in a single moment of insight, but there are small, daily practices that begin to shift the pattern. The first is this: notice the edit. The next time you are about to say something, and you feel the pull to soften it, reframe it, or swallow it entirely, awareness is always the first step. The second practice is to ask a different question. Instead of "what will they think?" ask, "what do I actually want here?" The third practice is to act anyway. Pick one small thing you have been holding back, a creative idea, and let it exist in the world without seeking permission first. See what happens. See that the world does not end. See that most people are far too preoccupied with their own inner monologue to be as focused on yours as you imagined. There is a version of your life where you are not constantly seeking a signal from outside yourself that you are allowed to exist as you are. Where your choices belong to you. Where your words come out whole, not pre-edited. Where you can sit with disapproval, calmly, without collapsing. That version of you is not built from bravado. It is built from something quieter. The slow, patient understanding that the only approval you were ever truly waiting for was your own. And it has always been there, waiting.